First and foremost, when is Pyro coming to Hero Wars Dominion Era? The problem with Fire Titans, and this is kind of the big thing that a lot of people is going to have a question about. Asherona has finally been revealed, Asherona and Pyro, I guess, and you might have some questions. It might not seem obvious at first, but there are some gaps in the published information. In this video, I'm going to go over how I feel about Asherona. I'm going to talk about when and how, and some of the things that you might need to think about long-term with this brand new Fire Titan. Let's go!
It's only a game. Why you have to be mad?
What is up, heroes of Dominion? My name is Charlie. This is Hero Wars Central, and if this is your first time joining me, I'm Charlie with Hero Wars Central, and I like to talk about Hero Wars Dominion Era for the free-to-play, budget, and new player. If that sounds like you, stick around. The main thing that is going to be a consideration is going to have to do with the way that Asherona interacts with Titan totems, the elemental spirit totems. The way that totems work just out of the gate, this is the most important thing to know, baseline, is that it requires 3 Fire Titans to have a totem active. This is the case for all of the base elemental, you know, the water, fire, and earth totems. It requires 3. Of course, with the release of Verdok a month or 2 ago, this kind of all changed. Verdok has the ability to count as 2 earth totems, and now we have Asherona, who counts as 2 earth titans, and now we have Asherona that counts as 2 fire titans. This obviously unlocks a lot of new Titan team combinations, 2 fire teams. Of course, you can still do 3, 4, or 5 Fire Titan teams as well. We'll talk about why that's important in just a second. But the Spiritual Bond Fire, this whole skill is basically saying that when Pyro is up, that's the little baby fire blob right here. When Pyro is up, you have a extra Titan on the field. So you could have up to 6 Titans on the field at once, technically. Or whenever you just have 2 Fire Titans starting the fight, say Asherona and Moloch, or Asherona and Araji, or maybe Asherona and Ignis even, you know, there's all kinds of variations there. You will have a 3rd Fire Titan to activate a fire totem, the ability from the fire totem, you know, when Pyro is up. And of course, you have this skill right here, which we'll talk about in just a second. We'll talk about the effectiveness of Asherona and Pyro in just a second. First and foremost, when is Pyro coming to Hero Wars Dominion Era? Since I'm a content creator, I'm afforded the opportunity, a test version of Asherona to try out, and it will be distributed to us on November 7th. Now, obviously, we're in December. My assumption is that this is going to be in December 7th, not November 7th. So taking a look at the event calendar, wow, that's really zoomed in. Taking a look at the event calendar, you know, you're just talking about a couple of days away. And if it does launch, if it is given to us on the 7th, traditionally what has happened in the past is that is when the pre-order goes live. Now, a week later, plus 1 day, is the Tournament of Titan Power. So the average player that isn't going to pre-order Asherona, which, by the way, it's a consideration to not pre-order because the event itself is going to be fun and exciting and give you every opportunity to get a 6-star Asherona and Pyro. It is going to be a great opportunity to level up a new Titan for the Tournament of Titan Power. Now, if you're not planning on building a fire team, you're obviously going to be at a disadvantage because you're going to be funneling resources into a Titan and team that you never planned on leveling. But ultimately, eventually, it's going to be good to have Asherona leveled up because Asherona plus 1 more Fire Titan allows you to activate a fire team with, you know, a dark component or a earth component, you know, or a light component, you know, whatever you want to pair with that fire team. Now, when will we have confirmation of this fact? We don't really have a ton of information about the release date from this post, but we do have on December 11th a official live stream. And then down here below it, you have a link to the Hero Wars Dominion Era YouTube channel. You can check that out if you're not already subscribed to the official channel. In fact, here's the Verdok live stream if you want to take a look at how probably the Asherona event is going to go. One change from the Verdok live stream and the Electra live stream and all of those is that they're not giving away absolute star Asheronas in this live stream. They always give away prizes to viewers, they're actually going to give away 300 energy crystals. So you use those energy crystals to level up the relics, and there's all kinds of strategy as to which crystals to level first. If you want to fully complete the event for the grand prize of the totem fragment of your choice, you will need 790 energy crystals. So getting 300 for free would be really nice. Stay tuned to HeroWarsCentral.com for complete guides on leveling strategy and how much they cost, and which relic to level first, how best teams for the bosses, all that. I'll have all of that on HeroWarsCentral.com when the event actually does go live. So back to Asherona herself, or themselves, I suppose. This is a damage increasing support titan. Okay, it's actually a summoner is her role, but if you take a look at Pyromania, her ability kind of ends with Pyro, and that's kind of how Verdok was as well. It's one of the shortcomings of these summoner titans. If they don't have their little baby summon titan up, they aren't really that effective. They're just doing their basic auto attack and promoting the totem energy growth as well. So whenever Pyro is summoned into battle, everybody on the enemy team gets a smoldering brand. It's a debuff that the enemy titans get. While active, Pyro applies smoldering brand to nearby enemies every 10 seconds. So when an enemy marked with smoldering brand takes damage from another titan, not another fire titan, but any titan, the brand explodes, dealing damage, depends on the attack to that enemy and surrounding foes. Pyro's health depends. Asherona's maximum health. Pyro can't be targeted specifically, but when Asherona takes damage, Pyro also takes damage as well. The problem with Fire Titans, and this is kind of the big thing that a lot of people is going to have a question about, how is this going to change things? Well, it's going to change things in two ways. First of all, it is not going to change how effective Fire Titans are already. It is widely considered that the Fire team, the core team of Fire Titans plus a Dark and Light, is the best. It is the best for attacking. Okay, generally, if you know how the totems work, if you know how to play in manual mode, fire teams are strong versus earth teams already, just natively. Elemental damage gets bonus damage versus earth. Elemental armor gains bonus defenses versus earth titans, right? So just natively, fire titans are good against earth teams. And if you play in manual mode, at least until Titus, the water summoner, comes out, if you play in manual mode, fire teams already are beating the majority of water teams. So if you're interested in player versus player, if you're interested in the most effective attacking Titan team, the fire core is already the best. It's already highly considered to be the best if you know how to, again, play in manual mode and all that. What this is going to do is not going to make that any better because it's already pretty good. You might win one or two fights that you didn't before, but where this is actually going to matter is, first of all, the most obvious is Clash of Worlds. In Clash of Worlds, you have this gate of the Bastion of Fire. And the Bastion of Fire, the amount of Fire Titans in the Bastion of Fire increases the max health for all of the Titans in the Bastion of Fire. So, 5 times 8 is 40. Every 5 stack of Fire Titans is going to add 40% bonus health for, a total of 160% bonus health. So you can already see that there are 5 Earth teams filling the Gate of Nature on this. This is just one example. I'm not sure what ranking Brave Rose order is. I know that we also do 5 Earth teams. Like there's mine right there. So, there is all likelihood that we're going to have 5 Fire Titan teams on defense in the Bastion of Fire. Like that's going to be number one. If you already have a fire team, at least 4 players in your guild need to have a 5 fire team with the correct fusion skills on that fire totem. I actually have a totem fusion guide right here on the blog, and kind of the best, the best fusion skills for each totem. From the community there. That's consideration number 1. Consideration number 2 is going to be on offense when you're attacking. So obviously, whenever you're going into offense, when you're attacking, the team that you're using is going to vary based on the team that's on defense. So we have HR here that's got Brewstar, Mort, Tenebrae. So we can use the best Titan teams. Let's see, Brewstar, Mort, Tenebrae. and then Amon Solaris, right? That's who the other two were. Yeah, Amon. That's not Amon. That's Iari. So Iari. Yeah, so there we go. Solaris, Iari. So we have 4 teams here, and maybe your go-to has been this line right here. Okay, we got Moloch, Solaris, Araji, Iari, Ignis. What I could see being effective, what I could see being interesting is if you're in the building process of working on your fire team, there is the possibility that instead of leveling up like Ignis, for example, instead of Ignis, you just attack into that with Moloch, Solaris, Araji, Iari, and Asherona. Or maybe you do something like Moloch, Asherona, Solaris, Iari with Hyperion. Obviously, whenever as the new Titans are added to this calculator, then we'll have more options. We'll know what wins and what doesn't win. This is on auto, by the way. So if you play manual mode, there are more options to choose from. But you have a couple of 100% win rate teams versus that defender with fire teams, depending on what fire team you have, assuming you're at max, of course. But instead of it being 3 and 2, you could have 2 and 2 and 1 of a lot of different variations. 2 fire, 2 light, 2 fire, 2 dark, plus Hyperion, 2 fire, 2 earth, plus Tenebrous, right? That is kind of the second thing. So on offense, it's going to open things up, and it's going to give you a lot more output from your fire totem. If you stick with that 3 and 2, with the Moloch, Araji with Asherona with Solaris, Iari, so you have effectively a 4 fire titan team with both light titans here. Because by the way, the light and the darkness, if you don't know, you only need 2 titans to activate the totem there. So there's a lot of nuances to this summoner, both on offense, both on defense, that I think will matter a lot. But I think actually this is probably the summoner titan that's going to impact the titan meta the least, because fire is already so good. Fire is already good versus earth, like I mentioned earlier, and fire on manual mode with the right supporting titans can already beat water teams. So let me know in the comments down below. Do you have a fire team? Are you planning to go for Asherona? Do you prefer to get an absolute star Asherona to 300 energy crystals during the live stream if, hypothetically you were one of the 10 or so winners? Very excited to have Asherona and try her out. I personally, my fire team is the weakest of the group, but that's okay. We're going to take this opportunity and the Tournament of Titan Power to level them all up. I love you all. Good luck in Dominion.